Hi friend, how are you? This is July, what are we on? We're on Thursday the 25th? Yeah, I had to look at my calendar. So we're the 25th and our topic for today is the book Nook. That is our challenge. I'm Pat Sloan. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the sweet notes that you've been sending with my limited capacity now after I broke my wrists. Okay, so let's do the challenge first. Book Nooks. I'm really curious as to what was one of your first books that you got as a quilter. You don't necessarily have to show me your first book. You might not have that anymore. But one of your first books, or maybe one of your first books that made a big change on how you do things. I thought I would show you my first published book. So I have published 37 quilt books. I am an author of 37 quilt books. It's hard to believe that there are that many. But I want to show you the very first one, which is with my friends at Leisure Arts. I did about 28 books with them, and Martingale is my publisher now with the last group, the group up till the 37. Okay, so Folksy Favorites is my very first published quilt book, and it's been out of print for many, many years. You can probably find, we'll link to it on Amazon, so you might be able to pick up a used copy there. You may even have it. If you have this, show me a picture at Facebook at the group Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. So Greg is going to open the book and show you a few things, but first, here Greg, go back up to my face a second. So what I want to do is just, I'll tell you how the book came about, and then I'll just show you a few quilts in it. So when we do the trade shows, the trade shows, we usually have a little booth and everything. And at the one trade show, the publishers from Leisure Arts came up to me and, were just talking to me and just saying hi and introduce themselves. And then they said, they would really like to work with me and take a look at, they really liked what I was doing and thought that they would make really good books. And so after that, they gave me a call, and then we started discussing what to do. And what's interesting is that the very first book I did, they wanted to take single patterns that I had already published, things that have already been published. And they went through my collection of work. I had been in business maybe 3 years, yeah. So I had enough different quilt patterns already. So they went through and selected, I forget how many are in here. There's 7. So they selected 7 of my patterns, which are primarily applique. They all have applique. Some have a bit more patchwork. And that is how the first book came about, is working that way. I learned a lot from Leisure Arts about publishing and about how books go into stores. It was so wonderful. It was very educational. Learned a lot. Wonderful people. So let me just show you now. We'll take a look at a couple of the quilts in here. The cover has, I'll show you that one when we go to the middle, but Greg's going to flip open a few of the pages. So I'm going to take you to the first one here, which is called, if you want to stand back here, Greg. Okay, so this is called Slice of Summer, which is, they're all sort of asymmetrical. A lot of them have all kinds of summer items on it. I loved coming up with the ideas and sketching out what would be a summer item, like putting the fence with a little hat on it. Okay, we'll go to another one. So there you can see the picture a little bit better. Okay, let's go look at that. Mama's Garden is my signature quilt. I've taught this. Many of you have made it. If you've made it, show me a picture. Somebody just shared one the other day. I've taught it in classes. It's on my website, so you can go to my digital, we'll put the digital pattern link. You can go there and find a couple of these in my digital online store. So there's Mama's Garden with the big flower and the bees cap. So it's still one of my favorite, and it looks wonderful in different fabrics. Okay, the next one on here is the cover quilt, and we'll do go to the next page, Greg, so they can see. So this is called Basket of Hope, and I really love this quilt with the double. It was actually a triple star. There's 3 stars with an applique star in the middle, and then the star baskets, lots of stars, and the swag border. So I'll show you one more out of the Folksy Favorites book, my very first published books, I believe. And many of you that have taken workshops with me have seen this pattern. This is also in my digital store. I designed this to be a Christmas quilt, but also not to have too much Christmas stuff. You know, like I wanted it to be, there's a bird bath with a cardinal, and the snowflakes are actually inspired by antique quilts from like the 30s, where they used to do like a series, like 12 snowflakes on a quilt, these great big snowflakes. We've got Sugar Plum Fairies, Granny's House, and Pappy's Shed, that's in the middle. We've got this cute crow on a bittersweet bark with holly. Then my little stick tree, these long skinny stockings. We have I Believe over here with the words and hugs and kisses. I've got this cone like you would put on your door, and it's filled with candy canes and peppermints. And then there's Granny's cookie jar with a big spoon on it. The poinsettias round that out. Now any of these blocks you could use actually as one quilt. You could do this as a table runner or a wall banner. You could hang that as a wall banner. This would be a super cute little mini quilt. Same with any of them. They could be little mini quilts. It's a big wall hanging. So what is it? 67 by 85. Yeah. So it's a nice size wall hanging. And I do like to hang it at Christmas time in my living room. So that is the Folksy Favorites, my very first published book. I thought you might find that fun to see, and I would love to know if you have this book in your collection. So you know, often you can find the used copies on Amazon, so we'll put a link out there because somebody might have them up there. And staying on the same theme of patterns, I want to show you something that was sent by one of our friends here in our community, our quilting community. Cheryl sent this, and Cheryl, I know I didn't email you about it yet because I kind of got sidetracked. So we're just going to show this here. Cheryl has some old patterns that she sent me, and I'm eventually going to do these as a giveaway, because Cheryl asked that, you know, if I thought somebody might like to have these, and I thought, yeah, absolutely, they are so cool. This is just a portion, about half of what she sent, but they are old pulls from magazines, and I just thought we'd take a look at them real quick because they are so inspirational to me. I love vintage quilts. I love to be inspired by them. They're often very symmetrical. Look at that. It's very, very symmetrical. So Grace is going to flip the pages, and we'll just take a look at what Cheryl sent. So here's like, I think a lot of these were maybe from magazines. So there's like a Lone Star, and I'm not sure if on the back there's a little write-up about it on the back. So that's kind of cool. I think maybe that was something you could order. You know, there was kits made, you can push that. There was kits made for years. You know, the kits are not a new thing.
1931.
Oh, that's 1931. Greg's reading it upside down. 1931, wow. So this here, open that one up. These are the papers that come with my very favorite batting company called Mountain Mist. So open it all the way up. I know there we go. Yeah, so Mountain Mist put these in their battings for years now, and I think they still do put some of these in here. Mountain Mist is the batting company I first worked with, and I still work with them. They do, I think they're about the oldest batting company still in production. They're an amazing company. They make gorgeous batting, but they would put a pattern in with the batting. And then this is sort of advertising the other patterns that might come or that you might be able to order. So like if you can flip it over, and you can see on the back here was an iris, and they show you down here in this corner there's the block and repeat, and there's the layout of it, so it's an applique and all this pattern. My friend Linda works for them, and she has for years. So here's some other things from magazines. We'll just kind of you know, flip through it. They're really delicate, but there's blocks. You can see how older patterns were designed and given to you. Like often they had templates like this. Like nowadays we would write a pattern out how to do this. You know, we wouldn't have all these triangles and squares as telling you here's a 3.5 inch square. Like people would have to trace that for these different blocks. So you recognize these. These are leaf blocks and the Dresden plates. There's a clamshell. So cool. You get a little fancier blocks with curves and everything else. Okay. Now this is an example of one of the patterns that were a lot of kits. So you actually might find antique quilts that are out there like this. It is one of my, this eagle is one of my all-time favorites. Someday I actually really want to make that quilt. So that was from a magazine pull. And there's the other part of it, showing you, kind of how it was made. And I'll show you one. What's that? Oh, then an advertisement. Yes. Okay, so how many, wait, put that there. How many of you are in my Kitchen Adventures group at Facebook? Because, holy cow, I should take a picture of this and put it in there. I'm going to do that. Come over there, Kitchen Adventures at Facebook, where we talk about food. Eating, it's a good thing. Okay, Queen of the Quilting. Here's an article about a person, so, and their work. So featuring quilters has been something we've been doing for years. I don't know if there's a date on this one, Greg. But here, down here's one. 1961. 61. Yeah. So here she is. This is who they're featuring. Very cool. Alrighty. So that is what what Cheryl sent as a whole. Then there's a few more than that she sent, and I'm going to hold these off until I am able to do the giveaways again. So thank you very much for being here for our challenge of the day, which is Book Nook. Show me one of your very first books, and if you have one of my books, share that over in my Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, then share it down here at YouTube. Please shop at my website with all your shopping. You can go to the stores that I work with. That helps our small family business. We really appreciate it. I want to thank Greg for being the cameraman. Okay, everybody, I love you. Have a wonderful day. Mwah. See you online.